The story behind this cabinet's actually crazy. So I saw this piece for $450 at a store and I loved it, but I didn't want to pay that. So I went to a thrift store right after and boom, this cabinet was standing right in front of me for only $40. So of course I bought it. I brought it home and I had a further inspection. It did have a broken front door, but I was easily going to fix that. So the first thing I did was I removed these interior lights. I think these were old IKEA lights and I just put them to the side for now. Then I really cleaned the inside because y'all, this was so dirty. And I brought it outside and I got to my flipping. So I first removed those curved edges to make the legs straight, just like the inspo piece. And then I mixed some Bondo together. This was because I had to fill a gigantic hole/crack in this cabinet door. So I used some Bondo and then I got out my Dremel. This is an 8240 rotary tool. If you don't have one of these, I mean, this is a must-have in my flip kit. It's battery operated and it makes sanding those really hard to reach areas super easy and super efficient. And I couldn't really do this with a normal hand sander. So once I got all the sanding and all that Bondo down, I kind of reshaped around the doors to the style that the drawers originally were before they were cracked. When it was done, I moved on to scuff sanding and priming. I'm using Bonding Boss as this is a stain blocker and an adhesion primer in one. And when I gave it a good coat, I wheeled it to the back to my work area and I got out my workbench. And then I got some spare pieces of plywood. Now this plywood I cut down to size and I sanded it because I was going to make faux drawers on the front of this piece just like the inspo pick. I opted for 4 drawers instead of 8 so it didn't look too cluttered. Next, I chose the color Midnight Sky, and this is a very soft black, and I mean soft black as almost like a super deep gray, just on the cusp of black, and I painted the entire piece in this. Once it was dry, I used my rotary tool again to distress all of the edges that stuck out on this surface, just again like the inspiration picture. When this was done, I then moved on to sealing this piece. Now I use a brush to brush off dust and then, whoops, the wind actually knocked over that drawer. And then I use some hemp oil to seal this piece up. Now I love using hemp oil for chalk mineral paint, and this gives the finish a super, very light sheen of satin, and it dries and looks matte, and it almost looks like an antique kind of finish to it. It's absolutely beautiful. Then for the brass center, I used gold gilding wax and I cleaned it and I rebrushed this gilding wax back into it to make it look just like aged and buff brass. And then I marked out the center of all of my faux drawers and I drilled in holes to attach these awesome little, I guess, keyring handle pulls that I got from Amazon. Okay, y'all, and here's the before and here's the inspo. And here is my piece. I think I absolutely nailed the inspo and did the best I could. What do y'all think of this furniture flip?